A massive global shift is underway, and 10 nations are now facing a harsh reality. They made a catastrophic error by pushing out their Guyanese communities. This is the 2025 update on the countries now grappling with profound regret. First, the United States is witnessing critical shortages in its healthcare and construction sectors, a direct result of restrictive visa policies that forced out thousands of skilled Guyanese nurses, carpenters, and engineers. Second, the United Kingdom's National Health Service, or NHS, is facing one of the most severe crises in its 75-year history. Once hailed as the pride of Britain and a model for universal healthcare around the world, the NHS is now struggling under immense pressure. Hospitals across the country are overwhelmed, with waiting rooms packed far beyond capacity and corridors lined with patients waiting for care. The iconic blue and white NHS signs, once symbols of hope and reassurance, now stand outside buildings where staff are stretched to their limits and resources are running dangerously low. The situation is so dire that many patients are waiting hours, sometimes even days, to be seen by a doctor, and routine procedures are being postponed indefinitely. The sense of urgency and distress is palpable, not just among patients, but also among the dedicated professionals who have devoted their lives to caring for others. The crisis has been building for years, but recent events have pushed the system to a breaking point. Chronic underfunding, an aging population, and the lingering effects of the COVID-19 pandemic have all contributed to the strain. But perhaps the most acute challenge facing the NHS today is a severe shortage of medical staff. Across the country, hospitals and clinics are desperately trying to recruit doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals to fill thousands of vacant positions. The shortage is so severe that some wards have been forced to close and others are operating with dangerously low staffing levels, putting both patients and staff at risk. The recruitment crisis is evident everywhere you look. In medical recruitment offices, staff sift through piles of applications, hoping to find qualified candidates willing to take on the immense challenges of working in the NHS. Doctors and nurses gather in break rooms and corridors, discussing the mounting pressures and the toll it is taking on their mental health. Many are working double shifts, sacrificing time with their families and risking burnout in their efforts to keep the system afloat. The stress is visible on their faces, and the sense of camaraderie that once defined NHS teams is being replaced by exhaustion and frustration. In an effort to address the staffing crisis, the NHS has launched aggressive recruitment campaigns, both domestically and internationally. Posters and advertisements encourage overseas doctors and nurses to come to the UK, promising rewarding careers and the chance to make a difference. Job fairs are held in cities across the country, but attendance is often sparse, as the challenges of working in the NHS become widely known. Many positions remain unfilled, and the gap between the number of patients and the number of available staff continues to widen. One of the most significant factors contributing to the staffing shortage has been the impact of post-Brexit immigration rules. In the years following the UK's departure from the European Union, new regulations have made it much more difficult for foreign healthcare workers to obtain or renew visas. This has had a particularly devastating effect on the NHS, which has long relied on the skills and dedication of international staff. Among those most affected are doctors and healthcare workers from Guyana and other Commonwealth countries, many of whom have served in the NHS for years. Due to the new rules, a significant number of these professionals have been unable to renew their visas, forcing them to leave the country and return home. Their departure has left gaping holes in hospital rosters and has further exacerbated the crisis. The loss of these experienced and dedicated professionals has been deeply felt by their colleagues and patients alike. Farewell gatherings have become a common sight in hospital staff rooms, as teams say goodbye to valued members who have become like family. The empty staff accommodations and vacant positions serve as a stark reminder of the human cost of policy decisions made far from the hospital wards. For many patients, the departure of their trusted doctors and nurses has meant longer waits, less continuity of care, and a growing sense of uncertainty about the future of the NHS. In response to the crisis, NHS staff, unions, and community members have begun to rally for change. Protests and petitions call for urgent reforms to immigration policies and increased funding for the health service. There is a growing recognition that the NHS cannot survive without the contributions of international staff, and that urgent action is needed to address the root causes of the crisis. As the debate continues, the future of the NHS hangs in the balance, and the stakes could not be higher for the millions of people who depend on it every day. Third, Canada's ambitious infrastructure projects, particularly in provinces like Alberta, have long been seen as a cornerstone of the nation's economic growth and modernization. These projects, ranging from new highways and bridges to public transit expansions and energy facilities, are designed to support the country's growing population and to ensure that Canadian cities remain competitive on the global stage. Alberta, with its rapidly expanding urban centers and booming industries, has been at the forefront of this infrastructure push, investing billions of dollars into large-scale developments that promise to transform the province's landscape and improve the quality of life for its residents. However, despite these grand ambitions, both Alberta and Ontario are now facing significant challenges. Across these provinces, major infrastructure projects have been plagued by persistent delays and spiraling cost overruns. In Ontario, for example, several high-profile transit and housing developments have ground to a halt, leaving empty construction sites and half-finished buildings as stark reminders of the obstacles facing the sector. The reasons for these setbacks are complex, but one of the most pressing issues has been a sudden and severe shortage of skilled labor, which has thrown project timelines into disarray and forced developers to scale back or postpone their plans. A key factor behind this labor shortage has been the recent government crackdown on temporary foreign workers, a policy shift that has had far-reaching consequences for the construction industry. For years, Canada's infrastructure sector has relied heavily on the expertise and dedication of temporary foreign workers, many of whom hail from countries like Guyana. These workers have filled critical roles as tradespeople, site supervisors, and project managers, bringing with them years of experience and specialized skills that are in short supply domestically. When new regulations were introduced to limit the number of temporary foreign workers, the impact was immediate and dramatic. Thousands of experienced Guyanese tradespeople and project managers were forced to leave their jobs and return home, leaving construction sites across Alberta and Ontario understaffed and struggling to keep up with demanding project schedules. The exodus of these skilled workers has created a ripple effect throughout the industry. Site managers now face mounting pressure to find qualified replacements, but the domestic labor pool simply cannot meet the demand. As a result, many projects have been put on hold indefinitely, while others limp along at a fraction of their intended pace. The loss of experienced project managers has also led to costly mistakes and miscommunications, further compounding delays and driving up expenses. For local communities, the consequences are tangible. Much-needed infrastructure improvements are postponed, economic opportunities are lost, and public frustration grows as promised developments fail to materialize. In response, government officials and industry leaders are scrambling to find solutions. Some have called for a reassessment of the temporary foreign worker program, arguing that a more flexible approach is needed to address labor shortages in critical sectors like construction. Others are investing in training and apprenticeship programs to build up the domestic workforce, but these efforts will take years to bear fruit. In the meantime, the delays and cost overruns continue to mount, threatening to undermine Canada's infrastructure ambitions and erode public confidence in the country's ability to deliver on its promises. The situation in Alberta and Ontario serves as a cautionary tale about the unintended consequences of policy changes and the vital importance of skilled labor in building the nation's future. Fourth, Trinidad and Tobago's energy sector is experiencing a significant brain drain, regretting its restrictive work permit policies that have driven away highly skilled Guyanese oil and gas professionals to more welcoming markets. Fifth, the United Arab Emirates construction boom for major global events has been hampered, with companies reporting a severe shortage of reliable project managers and engineers, roles once filled by a robust Guyanese workforce. Sixth, Barbados's agricultural and hospitality industries are struggling to find dedicated labor after a change in its immigration stance led to a sharp decline in seasonal and long-term Guyanese workers. Seventh, Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 projects are facing unexpected hurdles, realizing too late that policies which discouraged Guyanese engineers and logistics experts have created a major gap in their skilled labor force. Eighth, Brazil's efforts to develop its northern regions have stalled, in part due to diplomatic friction and visa restrictions that have limited collaboration with Guyanese experts in tropical agriculture and sustainable development. Ninth, Australia's mining and resources sector is now offering huge incentives to attract specialized workers. In recent years, the mining industry in Australia has faced a significant challenge, a growing shortage of skilled labor, particularly in specialized roles such as heavy equipment operators, mining engineers, and technical maintenance staff. This shortage has been exacerbated by global events, shifting immigration policies, and the increasing demand for minerals and resources, driven by the global transition to renewable energy and advanced technologies. As a result, mining companies across the country are now in fierce competition to secure the best talent, leading to a dramatic escalation in the incentives being offered to both local and international workers. To address this labor crunch, mining firms are rolling out a suite of attractive benefits designed to lure skilled professionals. These incentives go far beyond traditional salary increases. Companies are now offering substantial sign-on bonuses, sometimes reaching tens of thousands of dollars, to entice new hires. Relocation packages have become more generous, covering not only moving expenses, but also temporary accommodation and assistance with settling into new communities. For those willing to relocate to remote mining regions, additional hardship allowances and family support services are being provided, ensuring that workers and their loved ones feel supported throughout the transition. Moreover, mining companies are investing heavily in upskilling and training programs, aiming to fast-track the development of new talent and retain existing staff. These programs often include paid apprenticeships, on-the-job training, and opportunities for career advancement within the organization. Flexible work arrangements such as fly-in fly-out, FIFO, schedules, and extended leave periods are also being introduced to improve work-life balance and make mining careers more appealing. The competition for talent has even led to creative perks, such as subsidized childcare, wellness programs, and performance-based bonuses. Some companies are partnering with local communities and educational institutions to create talent pipelines, offering scholarships and internships to students pursuing mining-related fields. The overall goal is clear: to make the Australian mining sector one of the most attractive employers for specialized workers worldwide. This surge in incentives is a direct reaction to the loss of Guyanese heavy equipment operators who have historically played a crucial role in keeping Australia's mining operations running smoothly. Over the past decade, workers from Guyana have become highly sought after in the Australian mining sector due to their expertise, strong work ethic, and adaptability to challenging environments. Their departure has left a noticeable void, with many mining companies struggling to maintain productivity and meet project deadlines. The absence of these skilled operators has had a ripple effect throughout the industry. Production schedules have been disrupted, equipment utilization rates have dropped, and the pressure on remaining staff has increased. Mining managers are now acutely aware of the value that international workers bring to their operations, and the loss of Guyanese talent has prompted a reassessment of recruitment and retention strategies across the sector. The situation has been further complicated by the plight of technicians and other skilled workers who are unable to renew their visas. Many of these professionals, who had built lives and careers in Australia, found themselves caught in a web of changing immigration regulations and administrative delays. As a result, they were forced to leave the country, taking their valuable skills and experience with them. This exodus has not only deepened the labor shortage but also highlighted the critical importance of streamlined visa processes and supportive policies for international workers. The Australian mining sector now faces the dual challenge of attracting new talent while advocating for reforms that will allow skilled foreign workers to contribute to the industry's ongoing success. 10th, and perhaps most surprisingly, neighboring Suriname is reporting slower economic growth than projected, with analysts pointing to its restrictive business visa policies that have blocked Guyanese entrepreneurs from investing and launching new ventures. The lesson is clear: nations that welcome and embrace global talent consistently thrive and innovate, while those that choose to shut their doors are increasingly being left behind in progress and opportunity. If you want to stay ahead of the shifting global landscape of power and talent, you need to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our crucial updates.